finally ऐसा हो जाएगा suddenly you'll be like अभी surgery चाहिए, nobody can help you. So either you wake up now or you wake up like after 5 years. Also for constipation, you can try to identify what constipates you. Untimely eating, late night binging, and not having a routine gives chronic constipation. Also, again, constipation ke liye people are like high fiber diet, right? Logically, but sometimes high fiber can make things worse, because if you're not having enough liquids or enough hydration, high fiber can actually make things worse, because that fiber will just absorb all the moisture from your stool and make it even harder. So क्या आप knowledge information ले रहे हो and कैसे अपने ऊपर apply कर रहे हो वो देखना है. So of course having high fiber means, I think oats. I mean, I'm just saying for me this works well. Having oatmeal. I like oatmeal is my once a week. I have to have that breakfast. So oatmeal with a little bit of cinnamon and some nuts. So oatmeal and these generally making sure ultra processed food is avoided, because that is devoid of fiber. So if you're having a lot of maida, for example, burgers and all of that, and not having enough fiber with that. So if you're having a burger, you can have like make sure other meals you're having a good amount of veggies and you're having fruit and all of that. Very very high protein diet, I know that's also a craze these days. That can also constipate people, because again, protein is difficult for the body to process, and again if you are eating so much of protein, of course proportionately आपका fiber जो आपको veggies and also होता है वो कम हो जाएगा ना. If you're having, like I see people having like 10 boiled eggs for breakfast, for example. So so you should understand, okay, मैं खा रहा हूँ, I'm bulking up, or this is my goal, but then how am I balancing? And not pooping every day is something which will definitely end you in trouble later. You will end up in trouble when you're not pooping every day. You should work on that. And there is another thing, in yoga there is a lot of emphasis on keeping the body clean, because again, right, if you're constipated and you can't do your yoga practice, you can't bend much, you'll be like, oh, or if you're too bloated, that's logic, right? So again, we have kriyas in yoga. So if your nose is not clean, for example, you have a lot of sinusitis or you have a lot of congestion in general, आप pranayam कैसे करोगे? You can't. So again, those are also, they come before asana. Before asana and pranayam, you clean the body. In hatha yoga, I told you the Patanjali 8 limbs, which are like asana, pranayam, what I was saying. So there is hatha yoga, limbs are different. So in that, keeping the body clean is the prerequisite for a good asana practice. So for constipation, another thing that works really well is you wake up in the morning and you have some warm water. And there are a lot of trends which come ki ACV water and lemon dalo and all of that. So in Ayurveda, because uh, I when I give diets to people, I do it with Ayurvedic lens, not just macros or not just proteins and all of that. So in that, warm water is the best. You can just take a glass of warm water and help you. And this is something I started with my daughter, because she used to be so erratic and she used बच्चे कैसे होते हैं. And then there used to be like, 2 days she was not going because she was like, no, it's a waste of time. I can play. Why should I sit on the pot? It became like the kids think like that. So then now I've made a rule. She wakes up in the morning and she knows she has to go before school. So we just give her just a tiny glass of few sips of warm water, and she's good to go. So something of this sort can really work. And these are so simple, right? Pani, garam pani, though har jagah available. I had this question from a lady in the studio, and she's like, I don't want my body to get used to, something like this. It should not be used to any of this. I was like, yeah, pani to hamesha available hi hoga na. There would be no instance that you will not have access to water. I'm not asking you to do something out of the blue. And if it's helping your chronic constipation, then why not?
Correct. Only at a point you can look at comfort when the thing is not that grave, but if you need it,
Exactly.
you
And
need
I'm
it.
not saying drink 1 liter of water, because again that is another thing. It's extreme.
Yeah,
You can have a
yeah.
small glass of warm water. And yoga में तो हम बोलते हैं तुम थोड़ा, you can have that warm water, you can do some malasanas, or there's some specific poses you can do that, because it puts a good amount of
Pressure.
pressure here in your abdomen. So earlier people used to squat and poop. We sit on our nice thrones with the cell phones. uh, so yeah, that malasan replicates what it's the nature, it's natural. And now People don't believe when it comes from our ancient sciences or ancient wisdom. But the moment
Hmm.
somebody does research and there are some papers about it, and people are like, huh. Now,
Yeah.
in the West, there are squatty potties. I don't know if you heard. So you sit on this
I
and
don't know.
there's a tiny stool, and then your
Uh,
knees are going up. If that works for you, why not? We don't have Indian toilets at home, right? We don't. I
yeah.
mean, nobody has these days. So you can
Yeah.
squat or you can buy those squatty potties.
Is this a device or something? Stool आता है?
Huh?
Is this a stool or something?
Yeah, it's basically what it does is replicates the squat position. So you elevate
Uh,
your feet so the knees are quite high. So it looks like it becomes
does
like a
this
squat. The legs put a gentle pressure on your colon, so it's easier. It's easier
nice to
to
know.
eliminate. Yes.